Welcome to Today at Keeneland as we are down to our final 2 days of racing here for this Keeneland spring meeting. And we hope to see you out here this afternoon. We may experience a little bit of rain, but we do anticipate it not really dampening the spirits all that much here today in Lexington. Scott Hazelton alongside Gabby Gaudette, and we've got a really nice card today. There are some scratches, but for the most part, the card has held up pretty well so far.
Especially the second half of the card. The late pick 4 looks pretty good. We have a couple of 2-year-old races too, and maybe Wesley Ward having the opportunity to tie or even surpass Chad Brown in terms of the leaderboard.
And looking at the jockey side of things, Tyler Gaffalione, he has 6 scheduled mounts. He had a big day yesterday. He's one off of the pace setter and the static pace setter. That's Javier Castellano, who we've mentioned will not ride here the remainder of the meet. So he's got a chance to tie or eclipse Castellano. Same with Florent Giroux, and same with Joel Rosario, and even Luis Saez. We've seen him get hot multiple times, especially when you're down in South Florida. So something that we'll be tracking over the next 2 days. But certainly today is a special day. If you're coming out here to Keeneland Racecourse, make sure that you wear pink. It is Pink Day as we celebrate the Chantal Lannery Breast Cancer Foundation, the late wife of Corey Lannery, who we lost well too soon. And certainly there are many stories when it comes to breast cancer as far as losing people far too soon. But we celebrate her along with Horses and Hope. There's a lot of activities going on right now. There's a jockey autograph signing to benefit the Chantal Lannery Breast Cancer Foundation located in the grandstand under the jumbo screen. Patrons can visit the Breast Cancer Foundation table for jockey meet and greet and the opportunity to register for pink concert tickets. And also patrons can visit the Horses and Hope table as well as the Chantal Lannery Breast Cancer Foundation located just outside the Keeneland shop. There'll be several presentations over the course of the day in the winner's circle starting in race number 2. So an emotional day for many, a time to celebrate those that we have lost, and also celebrate the many breast cancer survivors that we will certainly have in attendance and we have been affected by over the course of our lives.
Of course, and these days are so important, Scott, to just overall increase awareness and education and screening and treatment, and most importantly, to provide support for those who are, affected or even affected by cancer, any type of cancer. So we definitely are happy to be here. And in terms of the jockey autograph signing, it's happening right underneath the Jumbotron. You cannot miss it if you are in the grandstand and if you are by the paddock here at Keeneland. So there are different items that are going to be there. They have hats, posters, goggles, and even personal items that can be signed by the jockeys. The hats are $30. The posters are $20. Goggles are $15. And the personal items are $5 if you want to get those signed. And all of those proceeds go to the Chantal Lannery Foundation. So definitely come out, get some things signed, and support a very, very good cause.
And if you've forgotten your pink, you've got the opportunity to make that donation and contribute. And even if you have worn it, go over there and make a donation. It certainly will go a long way. All right, it is Pink Day on the penultimate day of racing here at Keeneland Racecourse. But looking back at yesterday, Wesley Ward again with a 2-year-old, the first winner for Fast Anna. Anna's Fast wins first time out. That's a lot of F's. Careful with that one.
It was very, very impressive. I mean, we've seen so many impressive 2-year-olds come out of the Wesley Ward barn thus far, and good to see, Fast Anna with the progeny getting the win. It was an interesting card overall, and even Andrea was very impressive, so we'll see what's in store here today.
Galindo sneaking up the rail in the second-to-last race at 8-1, spicing up that late pick 4. We'll be talking late pick 4 in just a few moments, but time now to check in with our friends at WKYT for the latest on the weather here for this Thursday, the second-to-last day at Keeneland.
Hello, everyone. It's meteorologist Jim Caldwell here in the WKYT First Alert Weather Center. And this Keeneland forecast, it's going to be a wet one at times. That's going to be the situation we face out there today. We have to keep the mention of a scattered threat alive all afternoon long. I think into the evening hours it increases a little bit because a true wave of energy will come rolling at us, so the threat will go up during that time period. Temperatures look fine, though, running in the low 70s out there for the most part. If you could get in on a good period of sunshine, it would get a lot warmer than that. But I think because of the cloud cover that will house some of these showers, I don't think we get there. And then late this evening, we should run into a better chance of rain moving into the bluegrass region. have a fantastic day and good luck out there.
I'm going to play glass half full guy again in this situation. He said at times, which means at times it may not be raining, and we've seen this before where the rain has somehow missed us here on course at Keeneland. So let's keep our fingers crossed that those at times are at times not
Like
around
now.
this property, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful out so far. It's cool. It's a perfect day. There's cloud coverage, so come out, bring your umbrella. But I think the rain's going to stay away at least until this evening.
Full card picks. Let's get into them. Let's see how we match up. We do so in the first, same in race number 2. Had to adjust there with Hala Hala again scratching, so we both go to the number 5 horse. And
Looks like we agree a lot today.
Yeah, a lot.
First 4
Also-
races with the top selection. Also in race 6 we agree, and in race 8 and 9. So hopefully we have a good day. But yeah, I think the first half of the card was really affected by scratches, so we had to do some re-handicapping. But the second half of the card looks pretty strong.
give us a follow on the socials at Keeneland Racing on Twitter, at Keeneland on Facebook, also at Keeneland on Instagram. And if you don't have access to TVG2, you can watch Today at Keeneland each and every day that we broadcast on TVG2 via the Watch TVG app. You can access that by downloading it on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, as well as Apple TV, and you can watch TVG2, TVG, and our latest wave, the Racebook, all in HD. So check out the Watch TVG app. All right, our featured event is race number 7. Here's another one of these allowance races, so cleverly written, where literally anybody can run. That's not the truth, but it allows for a lot of high-level horses to compete, and Sensitive is the morning line favorite at 2-1 with Florent in the saddle.
Yeah, and then we also have Sassy Little Lila in there at 5-2 on the morning line. Rudy Brisset actually scratching her out of an allowance race last week because of the soft turf conditions. He had hoped for firmer conditions today. We'll see what the weather is by the time this race is run.
I'm leaning on California in this one. Tureen Dancer, the number 2 horse for the Phil D'Amato barn, and Little Red Feather Racing. This is a mare by Vale of York, so she's got Irish pedigree. If the rain does come and soften up this turf course, she's a 3-time winner from 5 starts. And as you have to have in Southern California in any race, you have to have tactical speed. So she will sit forward, and she's got a great rider to guide her in those positions. You talked about this yesterday with Saez. He's so comfortable sitting up close and being aggressive or having speed underneath him. And we take it back to her last race at the end of January at Santa Anita. She sat this same sort of trip. Tiago Pereira, who had a really nice meet at Santa Anita and continues to, gets her up in time and does so pretty comfortably. By a length and a half is how she wins this one. She comes off the 2-month layoff, and that's the pattern with her. They figured out that time between races works. She hadn't been seen since April of 2018, and she came back off of this lengthy layoff. She doesn't have that big gap that she has today. She's a serious contender today because the bottom line is she's run 5 times. She has 3 victories. Even her defeats, which have been out of the top 3 finishes, only beaten 2 1/4, only beaten 3 lengths, Gabby. She's always right there in the end. And what more can you ask for from a racehorse?
She's very strong in here, and she does have a little bit of natural speed to put herself in the race. I mean, she's nowhere near as fast as Sassy Little Lila. I don't know if anybody actually is in this race. Maybe Strawberry Tequila, but that's dirt speed that might not translate to the turf. So, you have to really consider a horse like Sassy Little Lila just because she could be the controlling speed in a race like this. But I, in turn to the number 1 Napali Spirit for Ignacio Correas because this poor mare has just gotten 0 pace in the last 3 starts. I mean, last time out in Hillsborough, you and I were there on the undercard of the Tampa Bay Derby. She got no pace, and she was going against the likes of Rimska. Hawksmoor slowed the pace down. Rimska somehow overcame that because of her class. Napali Spirit is just probably not that good. 2 starts back, slow pace. I mean, how often do you see 25:50, a minute 13 on the turf at Gulfstream? And then we'll take you to a race at Gulfstream 3 starts back. This was actually going the distance of a mile, and she still didn't get much pace. I mean, when we're talking about a mile on the turf at Gulfstream and you see 24 and change, almost 50 for the half, they're walking in front. But she somehow tried to overcome this. She could not get up in time. She was just beaten a neck at 11-1. But I think with the rail post position and the presence of Sassy Little Lila and the presence of Tureen Dancer and Strawberry Tequila, I think she'll get a little bit more of an honest pace in front of her. The rail post will help her get into position too. So that's who I have my eye on. I really think that she's good enough to win. She just needs to get a good setup.
Just quickly, not only do we have picks, we got tissues. So anybody needs tissues, just swing by the set, and we've got them for you right here. I'll just leave them off to the side. Any patron wants to come by, grab a tissue.
I've definitely used them over the last week.
Time for key race Actually, before we get to key race analysis, let's check in with our man, Tom Leach.
Nikki Oliver has overthinking in the allowance feature. First start of the year. How's she doing?
She's doing fantastic. I had her nominated for the Bewitch, but they brought this 3 other than back, and so I decided to maybe just get one race in her before we go to the mile-and-a-half stake at Churchill.
She really got good at the end of last year. What was the key?
I think she grew up. She never carried a lot of weight when she was a 2-year-old. I think she filled out quite a bit last year and just put it all together.
I noticed last year she had a lot of success a little longer than this distance. Is the distance a concern at all?
Yes, I think it's going to be too short for her for sure. But I didn't really want to throw her into a bunch of those older mares in the Bewitch, first time out for the year. And this race came up, so I decided to start here. But I think a mile and eighth and further is her better distance.
And if there should come up with some cut in the ground for the rain, is she good on that?
I don't think she'll care. I think she runs on dirt, soft, firm. I don't think she minds either way. So
good luck.
Thank you.
Nikki Oliver and overthinking in the allowance feature.
All right, time now for our key race analysis. These are races in which Gabby and I handpick and want to focus in on particular horses. And Gabby, we start right off the bat with race number 1, a high-level allowance race going 1 mile and 3/16 on the turf, scratched down to a field of 5, led by Princess Carolina, the morning line favorite at 8-5.
That's right. And Princess Carolina, she comes out of the Grade 2 Appalachian last time out. But, you know, she just seemingly has the most class in the race. She is going to have to overcome the pace scenario. I mean, we're talking about her stretching out to 1 mile and 3/16, so I don't think she's going to be too far off of it. But she was last time out 1 mile, and even 2 starts back, and the Here Comes a Bride will show you that race where she was just defeated a half length, 3/4 of a length behind Cambiar Park, who I believe is pointed towards graded stakes action on the Derby undercard. I read that this morning for trainer Chad Brown. So she ran a very credible race here in her first race off of the layoff, and she just looks like she's continued to take those steps forward. I don't think she really liked the turf conditions last time out. She's not going to get that. She's going to get a firm course today, at least for race 1.
Yeah, that's the anticipation. I went in the same direction. Again, we do not sit back. We do not huddle in this. When we come here, I have no idea who Gabby's picking. She has no idea whom I'm picking. And Princessa Carolina, excuse me, the horse that I focus on, and we go back to her last race. She has run this meet here at Keeneland back on April 7th. She caught soft ground on this day, and she was up into the race. The one thing that I hope today, and this is a smaller field, I hope that Brian Hernandez, and I'm sure if I can recognize this, or if he feels the same way, which, again, he may feel differently, I hope that I would be okay with her being on the lead, because this race, where's the pace going to come from? I mean, most likely, Aliseo just to her outside, but that's no guarantee. And also you've got Remarkable Soul. Who knows what she's going to do here today. Same with the Maker horse, although it looks like she's going to come from off the pace. But I would hate to get caught behind a slow pace. And, you know, because at some point these fillies are all going to try to outkick each other. And I think another reason why we see horses in this spot off of layoffs that they need to get races in. These races are easier to fill right now in Kentucky, these turf races. So even for Graham Motion's filly, Remarkable Soul, at some point he was going to try turf, but maybe that wasn't always going to be the idea. But I think you can catch a few of these vulnerable because they haven't raced in a while, and at least the 1, 2, and 3 have recent races under their belt.
And a lot of the time it's just because they're 3-year-old fillies going against 3-year-old fillies. Most oftentimes when you have a horse like this, you have to step up against older mares on the turf. But since they're 3, you know, it's a little bit of an easier spot, despite some of them maybe not wanting to go as far as 1 mile and 3/16.
All right, we move on. I'll take you to race number 3. This is an A other than allowance race at 1.5 miles on the turf course, and Coolin Rock on the outside is the favorite, and heavy favorite at that, at odds of 4-5 on the morning line. And Coolin Rock is a horse that has run very, very well as of late, in my opinion, and this is significant class relief. I mean, he comes out of the Mac Diarmida at Gulfstream Park, where Zulu Alpha won. Now, we saw Zulu Alpha fail as the favorite in the Dixiana Elkhorn, but he still showed up. And this race that we take you back to in the Mac Diarmida on March 2nd, he was right there with the slow pace and down on the inside. Nice ride by Jose Ortiz. We'll see what Jose's able to do in this smallish field today, but nothing wrong with this effort as he steps into the A other than company, and it's amazing that he still is eligible for this condition. But once again, this is Mike Maker's game. Mike's got a lot of games that he's very well at, or does very well at, but finding high-level claimers and turning them into older horses that get these distances and turn into graded stakes type horses, as we saw there with that grade 2 placing back on March 2nd. So look for him to take this step forward today against Anthem Company, and then start to focus in on graded stakes company on down the line.
I mean, I looked up a very funny stat, 12 furlongs on the turf for Mike Maker, and he hits at like between 18 and 20%, just because this is his game. He claims horses, he stretches them out. Usually horses can't go this far. If they have a little bit of class, they wind up winning, and he's just become so good at developing these types of horses. So don't sleep on that horse, and don't sleep on the 3 Victor Lounge, because he's another one who's stretching out from a mile for Maker.
It is a good race. Race number 3, part of the early pick 4, part of the early pick 5. Now, Hala Hala, she just keeps messing with you. I mean,
she does.
Had to adjust.
I'm not going to pick her anymore.
She scratches, so you have gone from race number 2. You've nixed that for the key race analysis, and now refocus your attention to race number 9. What race number 9 rather? What was appealing about this 9th race aside from the big field that we have to handicap?
Yeah, I mean, look at the big field, and we also have horses who are coming out of very, very strong maiden special weight races. One of them being Bailout, who Bailout actually did go against the likes of Preacher Power last time out down at Gulfstream, and I honestly thought they ran a very similar race. I couldn't find much separation between the two, but I like the fact that Bailout, he's got speed, he's got an inside post position, and he's been freshened since that last race. We'll take you back to his race 2 starts back, and this was during the fall here at Keeneland when he was narrowly defeated behind midnight tea time. He closed from off of the pace and just couldn't quite get it done. This horse has been so close as of late, but now, you know, this was going a mile and an eighth. He didn't show too much speed that day, but there's not a lot of speed in this particular race today. So with the inside post position, he might not be on the lead, but he's going to be very, very close. So he's going to be the top pick, but you have to also pay attention to the 2 outside runners, the 9 Trinity for Grand Motion and Cardinal Kitten. They both come out of the same race on the 3rd of March at Gulfstream. And I couldn't see much separation between these two. So in terms of the pick 4, I thought this was probably the deepest race where you wanted to have the most coverage.
Time for our clocker reports for this Thursday, April 25 card. And race number 6 is where we begin. Kimari on the 17th of April, 3 furlong workout in 35 flat. Number 1 best of 25, outworked Barnmate by 3 lengths. Steady regimen of speed works, and the trainer is 30% with 2-year-olds. Let me guess, is that Wesley Kamari?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. And then Cardinal Kitten in race number 9 on the 4th of April, 5 furlongs in 59 and 4. That was a bullet work locally, narrow loss last out, tied for the highest buyer in the field. So race 6, the 3, and race 9, the 10. That's today's clocker report.
Pretty incredible what Wesley Ward has managed to do with his 2-year-olds year after year after year in the spring. Not only is he winning here at Keeneland, he's winning at Aqueduct, he's winning in Florida. I mean, his 2-year-olds are just firing on all cylinders everywhere.
I can't wait for Royal Ascot. I really cannot wait to see what these youngsters can do over there, and the fear that he puts in the bookmakers over in England. It's incredible. They are terrified of him. They really are terrified of him. All right, early pick 5 starts with race 1, early pick 4 with race number 2. But as we do, we are going to focus our attention on the latter half of the card and talk late pick 4.
All right, I'll start us off as per usual, and we started off with one of those 2-year-old races we were just alluding to. 4.5 furlongs on the main track. And I will be using Kamari here for Wesley Ward. She is by Munnings out of Cozy Up Lady, the mare. She was a multiple stakes winner, and she was best on the turf. So she probably is the horse to beat, but I also wanted to use the firster for Steve Asmussen, the 2 Half Moon Reef, who is actually working with Topless, who ran pretty well yesterday, all considering. She managed to run second in that 2-year-old race. And number 7, Not Again Jackie for trainer John Hancock, getting the blinkers on and has experience, did not get out of the gate too quickly last time out. Race 7 is just 3 horses, 1, 3, and the 4, the 1, Napali Spirit, my top selection, the 3, Sassy Little Lila, and then the favorite, the 4, Sensitive, who's coming out of a really good race last time out in her seasonal debut. And then we get to the 8th race, another 2-year-old maiden race that is going to, I'm only going to be using 2 horses in there, the 3, Samari Cause, for Steve Asmussen and the number 9, Let's Stay Positive. Wesley Ward had 2 in there. He scratched 1. Usually when that's the case, the other horse that stays in is a sure lock. So I probably could have even singled this horse in the late pick 4. And then race 9, I alluded to this race. This is the race that I think you want more coverage in, or the most coverage. So I will opt with 4 horses, the 2, 6, 9, and the 10, with preference to the 2 bailout.
I originally had an $80 ticket, was able to cut it down because of the scratches and readjust, and I think it made things a little bit clearer. But we're both going to hit the pick 4, by the way, just so you know, because we have a lot of similar numbers, and I think it's going to happen. And in race number 6, 2, 3, and 7, Steve Asmussen, Half Moon Reef, a horse that's been working sharp here at Keeneland. I like the half-mile workouts out of the gate. You've got Kamari for Wesley. That one's very obvious. And then go to the 7 horse for John Hancock. He touted this on this colt yesterday, and we've already seen him run. And you've got to expect that he's going to be quicker away from the starting gate with the addition of blinkers and just with that race under his belt. Race number 7, 2, and 4 is all I'm going to need. Taurine Dancer for Phil D'Amato, the one that we spotlighted in the key race analysis. And then the 4-horse Sensitive, a horse I think that will get a similar trip. And that race against Stakes Company last time out should go a long way. And she just continues to be so consistent. She's a 3-time winner from 11 starts with 7 in-the-money finishes in those 11 runs. Race number 8, back to the youngsters, 2, 3, and 9, Dream Palace for the Kamori barn. 1 for 1 with recent first-time starters. We'll see if this colt by Palace can break away from the starting gate sharply, which is going to be key. Samurai Cause for Steve Asmussen. He's my top selection in there. I think that Steve is not only due for a win, but I think he's been overshadowed wrongly by Wesley Ward, and it has to do with Wesley Ward's success. But when we get to Churchill Downs, that's when Steve starts to light things up with the 2-year-olds, and perhaps we'll start to see it begin here today in race number 9. And then the number 9 horse, Let's Stay Positive for Wesley, the Palace Malice filly, drawn to the outside with Tyler in the saddle. Good workouts. Again, you just cannot leave Wesley Ward 2-year-olds off of any ticket. And then I've got all kinds of coverage in race number 9, 2, 4, 6, 9, and 10. Bailout for the Phipps stable. The number 4 horse, Uncle Artie for Mike Stidham. Blinkers coming off the 2-month layoff, and he's been gelded since his last race, and he ran a decent race last time out, so that's encouraging. The number 6 horse, Preacher Power for Eddie Keneally. He ran into St. Denman, who was the favorite in the final race of the day yesterday here at Keeneland, so look for this horse to improve as they take the blinkers back off. That was the first time they experimented with the blinkers, so expect him to return to the form that we saw prior to that effort. And then the number 9 horse, that is Trinity for Graham Motion. Nothing wrong with his 2 starts. You can't ignore him. And then Cardinal Kitten on the outside, Gaffleone. I'm going to use as much Gaffleone as I can, and same with Ken and Sarah Ramsey and Mike Maker. Ken, his stable has come to life here in the last few days of Keeneland as he attempts to get into the winner's circle, a place that he's very familiar with.
How many titles does he have here?
I don't know, 57, I believe.
Too many to
last count. So that's our look at the late pick 4. Time now for our best angles segment, and we're both going to race number 5. Scratch out the 1 and 6. Where are you going in the 5th?
I'm going to the number 8 horse, Flat Meadow at 7-2. Now, there are a couple of scratches of the 1, Lure of the Sea, and the 6, Let's Roll, who probably was a factor in terms of the pace scenario. She was very fast. So that's where I do kind of like the 8 Flat Meadow, because she's got that middle type of running style. I think she's going to be stalking the pace today. And we'll take you to her race 2 starts back. This was down at the fairgrounds. This was her first race off of a layoff since November, and she ran really, really well at 7-1 for Andrew McKeever. She, in fact, was just defeated by a nose. You can see her coming down the stretch, and the other filly beating her, Lamari. The winner of this race, Lamari, we actually saw come back here at Keeneland on the 19th and won an allowance race with a 92 Beyer speed figure. You can see the separation between the top 2 finishers and the rest of the field. If she's as good as Lamari was on that particular day, why can't she win today? I mean, I don't know what happened last time out. It was a very subpar performance and discouraging, but I just think she's better than what she showed last time.
She's my 3rd selection. My top choice in that spot is the horse that I'm going to take you to in race number 5, Lessons from Avery for Charlie Lepresti, who had a winner last week here at Keeneland. And this filly has won here at Keeneland. In fact, her only win came here right here at Keeneland. And she runs well fresh. That's the key to her. Let's take you back to her victory at Keeneland, which is in late October. After this, she would be asked to go against Grade 2 Company, and she finished 6th, beaten 4 lengths. It was not a disrespectful effort whatsoever, but this filly just keeps on running. Here's another rider that I've been leaning on here as of late, and I think you should as well, Brian Hernandez, who is doing well, but she just continues to try down the center of the course and eventually gets there. And we saw this from her prior to these races, a horse that just keeps on coming. So I think the drop-in class, and I have no problem with the time off. 5 months off, not worried about it. Lepresti, his ROI in these extended layoffs is $2.09, which is really high. And I think that if you look at this filly and the way that she runs when she runs fresh, she's at her best. So I think Lessons from Avery will be quite good here today. And if it does come up softer, I don't think that will affect her. She was able to close over yielding ground last time out of Churchill.
So my angle, the bet that I'm going to be playing is exacta box with the 589. So
Okay.
I do agree with you. Lessons from Avery. I thought she started to, progress in the latter half of her season last year, and I think that's going to be good momentum for her seasonal debut today.
And across the board play for me for race number 5 on the number 5 horse, Lessons from Avery. Tom Leach's pick of the day. He goes to race number 4, a maiden 20 claimer for 3-year-olds and up, and Nautical Legacy, who's 8-1 on the morning line, is his choice. Drops in class from races at the fairgrounds. This horse has been running for 30 in his 2 starts down in New Orleans, and then looking for value play in a race with no standouts. It certainly is a tough little heat, so we'll see if that is enough to wake him up. I would expect Baron of Bluegrass to be the potential favorite for Merrill Share. Dollar hot dogs, don't forget.
Last day of the spring meet to get a $1 hot dog. Get it before 2 p.m. I'm telling you, it's worth it.
Don't let the rain worry you. It's going to be fine. You're going to have some cover. We're going to have a great time. For Tom Leach, for Gabby Gaudet, and the entire team, I'm Scott Hazelton. Thanks for joining us here on Today at Keeneland.
Scribe, take this down. For far too long, people have been left to wonder what ingredients are in their beer. As your leader, make that handsome leader, I shall put an ingredients label on every case of Bud Light. This way, the people will be sure that the kingdom's favorite lightest lager is brewed with the finest ingredients. That was really great. Did you get that?
Oh, was I supposed to be writing that down? I was drawing this pony.
Bud Light, now with an ingredients label.
We're here at Toyota Motor Manufacturing in Kentucky.
This is Toyota's largest manufacturing facility in the world.
Let's go take a look.
Come on.
Toyota has invested over $8 billion in this plant alone, producing over 11 million vehicles.
It's all part of Toyota's commitment to the beautiful state of Kentucky.
Helping to create jobs for nearly 25,000 people. You gotta love that.
Toyota Camry, built in the USA.
Toyota, let's go places.
Ladies and gentlemen, Keeneland welcomes Brittlyn Lannery and Shay Leparoux to the paddock. Brittlyn, daughter of Corey and the late Chantel Lannery, is in 5th grade at St. Patrick's Catholic School. She has been a part of several school productions, most recently seen in Aladdin and Willy Wonka. Shay Leparoux, wife of jockey Julianne Leparoux and daughter of the late trainer Mike Mitchell, has been heard singing the national anthem at racetracks and sporting events around the country. Shay has worked as a vocalist at Disney theme parks around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight